The game ain't based on sympathy. I'll leave it at that.
What's up, YouTube, man? It's your boy Action Jackson, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over two different things in this video. One, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions off the episode 1 of the Hard Knocks with Dallas Cowboys, and then part number 2, I'm going to be going over Dak is finally throwing the ball, and Amari Cooper is up off the PUP list, and I saw those two in training camp throwing the ball together. So yeah, man, let's head into it. So in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, it was pretty predictable, in the sense that you saw mostly everything we saw in the first episode was everything we already saw like the first couple days within training camp. You know, Dak throwing screens to Zeke, and Dak throwing Will up the sideline to Zeke, and Dak throwing an over the shoulder throw to Zeke also. So starting out, opening up the Hard Knocks video, they talked about Dak's injury and the adversity change with his brother his brother dying of suicide, and Dak's ankle, and how long, what tough times he was going through. Then then they replayed again and showed the gruesome ankle injury he had. It's kind of disgusting to look at. It was heartbreaking and saddening to look at it again. But then after they showed after all that, they went into practice, and he was practicing out there, really eager to get out there. And then they had this little moment in the training, in the little Hard Knock video, that the NFL, they have this, the NFL, they have top of everything. So they had this advanced metric of Dak's level was like at 575, and that was way too high for him coming back, especially off this ankle injury. So then they had to keep him out of practice for a little bit, and they had to put in the backups like Garrett Gilbert, Ben DiNucci, and Cooper Rush. So Dak was really pissed in the audio. If you see it, if you saw the episode, you know what I'm talking about. He was really pissed. He was like, he was just cussing out the coaches, telling them like, I'll tell you when I'm sore, and when you take me out, I'm gonna tell you if I'm sore and if you can take me out, things like that. And then the little narrator in the back, he was like, Dak knows that being out for that long can build up rust. So Dak wants to get out there, be in the groove again. But then I understand the maturity of the Dallas Cowboys by not letting but what's the point of trying to rush Dak back in, especially in some of these preseason and training camp, because we're going to need him for this season, because now when an added extra game, and then you got to play against the Bucs opening weekend. So yeah, I will try to preserve Dak. I understand Dak is going to be pissed, but it's like one of those things that your parents will tell you, they're looking out for you. Right now, it might not seem like it's not all that great, but your parents know what's good for you and things like that. So that's what the trainer did and things like that. And then also in the episode, they showed Zeke, and was like, because how they said about Dak, like he knows that back year basically is what they both said about Dak and Zeke. They were showing Zeke and what he did in his first 4 years and how great he was, and then last year wasn't so great and things like that, his fumbling issues. And they showed they gave us a whole bunch of highlight reels of Zeke, and they showed Zeke, catching screens, wheel routes from Dak, he was breaking ankles, he was rounding up the linebackers, things like that, and then they had a little funny clip of Zeke wrapping up a present for Dak, and he's wrapping up for Dak, and what a coincidence that Dak's opening, Dak knocked on his hotel room while he's getting his present ready for him, things like that. That was pretty funny. Going over from Dak and Zeke, they made the transition over to Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons, you already know some of the picks he got in training camp, blowing up runs and things like that, and tackling and things like that, And then it was really nice watching Micah Parsons, and he was acting like a little kid for a little bit, because while he was warming up in the stretches, he was running head first into all linebackers, trying to hit him in the head, do what Tom Brady does, and with his helmet, trying to get fired up and things like that, and a little dumb stuff. He's a rookie, so he was just having fun out there. But Mike Parsons is going to be a dog, man. And then they showed what he did in preseason, and then with the fumble recovery, and then they showed his mom, and his mom was super happy for him. Showed his family, things like that. And then after they were showing the greatness of Michael Parsons, showing and then this whole funny thing about this, what's kind of funny is about this the Hard Knocks is that you hear, the funny thing about it is that you hear Mike McCarthy and you hear Dan Quinn. They do a whole bunch of cussing like F this, we got to go 100 effing percent and all this other stuff. They're trying to act like hard asses, but it's kind of funny how they try to hype up because they're on training camp. I always notice that in Hard Knocks or anytime people are mic'd up, they're trying to act super extra, like trying to act super hard and all that. And I was like, man, just cut it out. I understand that Dan Quinn, he's a fiery person, so is Mike McCarthy, so I know they're not putting up a facade and they're not trying to play nothing, but I felt like they did a little bit over the top. But I'm not in the back scenes or I'm not behind the scenes, so I don't know what they're actually be saying and things like that. But they transitioned into a clip of Austin Powers, and it was a presentation by Mike McCarthy, and then they was like they're gonna have a little mojo moment, where they go out, and then Mike McCarthy, it was like a team session type of thing, and they got the defense and the offense, and there was like mojo points, and whoever made a play, if the offense, if one of the backup quarterbacks, because Dak wasn't a part of the mojo moment, so he wasn't throwing the ball or anything. Because the trainer, they set him out. And so anyway, they was having the little mojo moments. Defense was coming in getting sacks and they were making plays, and then of course Benucci over here trying to throw a freaking sidearm. We're here playing like trash. He's over here throwing the ball out of bounds. He's throwing it completely out of bounds, and he's just throwing things in coverage and getting picked off. And then eventually they showed the clip where Garrett Gilbert threw the ball up to CeeDee Lamb, and he caught a one-handed pass, and obviously because of that, Dallas, they ended up getting the offense. They ended up getting some mojo points. It was kind of funny, the presentation that Mike McCarthy brought out with the Austin Powers. It was pretty funny. And then going back to Michael Parsons in the preseason, after he got his fumble recovery, and then he went to go talk on the phone with Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn was telling him, what did you see on this certain defensive play that he called out? And Mike Parsons was like, I need to widen out more and things like that. And then Mike Parsons asked Dan Quinn, can he get back in the game? And Dan Quinn told Parsons, like, no, man, we're shutting you down for right now. And then Parsons was like, man, I was just warming up, man. Like, coach, can I come back in? And then Dan Quinn was like, no, man, no, you can't go back in. And he went, and then he hung up the phone. He was pissed, and he went over to talk and sit down with Leighton Vander Esch, and he was telling him how long it's going to take for the game to finally end, and then for them to go back into training camp and go back to auction. He calculated or whatever, it's going to be like a 9-hour flight or 9 hours just doing nothing. So he was like, man, if I'm not going to be doing nothing for 9 hours, I might as well just be on the field having fun. But I understand they shutting him down too, because you want to preserve a lot of these guys, because we're playing a longer NFL season, so you want to keep these guys healthy. And so, I mean, that's pretty much all my thoughts and opinions about episode 1. Episode 1 is just gonna be episode 1. They're just gonna do open up the Cowboys, what the Cowboys haven't done in some odd years, and they're gonna, show all the injuries that we had and who's coming back off of injury, who needs to have a season and things like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I liked episode 1. Obviously, I'm looking forward to episode 2 just to see what's about. They're most likely going to do the joint practice from Saturday preseason. That's going to happen this Friday on the 13th, and then obviously any practice in between the joint practice all the way up until the next preseason game is what I'm expecting the next episode is going to look like. Yeah, so in this clip right here, you're going to see Dak finally getting to throw again, and he's right here throwing a little post pattern route to Amari Cooper, out there getting warm, man. Right there I just showed you the clip of Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper throwing a post pattern route to each other. I'm glad that Amari Cooper is the last person coming off the PUP list. So we already had DeMarcus Lawrence come up the PUP list, and now Amari Cooper, that came off. So that's really great, because we're going to need those guys, obviously, for week 1, and you want to get those guys acclimated into. So I'm happy that Amari Cooper's back. Obviously, now this is the final piece to add to the trio of our wide receiver core. And yeah, so Like I said, I liked episode 1. It was pretty fun, pretty entertaining. Sad. It was kind of sad when they was showing over Dak and his injury and what he was going through and things like that. So other than that, and then showing you guys Dak Prescott throwing to Amari Cooper, that's all for the video, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you guys in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye.